Jenny from Ginger Ninja Crafts. How are you? I hope you're doing well. I am here with my delayed wrap up for April and May, and it's now the 6th of June because I had basically lost my voice. Anyway, I'm back to being croaky and not just completely gone, so here we are, making a little video. So the idea of these monthly wrap-ups, or this is a 2-monthly one, is just to kind of keep track of the sort of goals that I set for myself back at the start of the year, which were I wanted to read 52 books, I wanted to do some watercolour, I wanted to cross-stitch more and to cross-stitch a Christmas ornament for every month of the year, so to have 12 done to put on the tree by the time it's that time of the year. And to grow my YouTube channel. So it's been quite a busy couple of months, and I'll start off with the things I've not done very well with. I've not done any cross-stitching and I've not done any watercolours. So, sorry. But I've done other things. So I have had quite a few commissions for sort of personalised cards to do, and I will pop some little photographs in just now. So hopefully you've just seen some photographs. So in there was a 50th card for a whiskey lover. There was I can't remember what the age was, but it's for a client who orders all her cards for her grandkids, and one of her kids is into canoeing this year doing their Duke of Edinburgh. So I had to do a canoe card, which I found a bit of a challenge. I didn't have any canoes, but I had a boat. I thought if I kind of chop and just use the front bit of the boat, it could look like a canoe. I've never done canoeing. And then I fell down a rabbit hole of what's a canoe and what's a kayak. And anyway, I think she liked it. I had to do an 80th card for a lady who goes swimming, and I was really pleased with that one. I like that that sort of glamorous swimmer with a little head wrap thing on. And then a 40th anniversary, a ruby wedding anniversary for a couple who are going to Canada for their celebrations. So you've just hopefully seen all of those. I've also been trying to work on more cards to go into the shop. So as you might know, I have an Etsy shop where I sell my handmade cards, and I don't know if it's Etsy or if it's my shop, but it all just got a wee bit quiet. So I was trying to really focus, before my holidays, focus on updating lots of bits and pieces in the shop to make Etsy get the idea that this is an active shop where lots of things are happening and they should share it. So I have uploaded some new Father's Day things. I had uploaded a kind of rock music one and a whole bunch of football ones. Let me show you the football. I think they're quite fun. You hear Ozzy chirping at me. So this is one. This is obviously the Scotland version. World's Best Dad, Happy Father's Day. Because people might not know, but there's a World Cup happening in Scotland. Is actually in it for the first time in 28 years. How amazing. Anyway, not that I really follow football, but it's hard not to get the pride is there at the moment. So I did a whole load of those. I did some graduation cards, and I've got some other ones that I just need to get the photos done and everything. I got a bit waylaid by feeling sick. So yeah, I've been busy on that. And as you all know, you can't do everything all at once, but that's how I try and earn some money. So I thought that was important to do. The other thing that I've got going on at the moment is I'm doing a big order for a vet friend. So every few months or so I get an order for 100 sympathy cards. She works with horses, so I'm making 50 of these, which I think are quite nice, and 50 of these. So this is a challenge because every time I need to come up with new designs that look different, because obviously people might have multiple horses and they don't want to send them the same card twice. So I'm thinking with this one that I might make some with like a thank you or something, because I think it's quite a nice, doesn't need to be a sympathy, that one. And I wondered for the other one, I'm going to see if I can find a nice sort of, sorry, my microphone's flopped there. Maybe a nice kind of line drawing version, stamp version of like a cat or a nice dog or something, and do other pet versions like that, because it looks quite nice, I think. So that's happening. And I have filmed my little bookish portion separately, so I will insert that bit here. Hello, so I'm filming the book section in my little book corner. I feel like I'm away at the bottom, but anyway, this is the best I can do. So I'm just filming this section first. I'm going to try and be quick with the book section. I've got a little bundle of books because I had quite a good reading 2 months. So the first book that I finished, which I think I mentioned in my last wrap up, was this, The Dictionary of Lost Words. And this was a recommendation from Margaret Flaxman. She told me that she had really enjoyed it and I loved it. It took me a little bit to get into it. When it starts, when the character, what's she called? Esme is just a little girl, and it took me a little bit to get into, but I really enjoyed it. There was tears at points. It follows the story of Esme from being, as I say, a little girl through to adulthood, and she goes through, I suppose, quite tumultuous periods in time. So the suffragette movement, the First World War, etc. But yeah, if you like a bit of historical fiction and strong women, then I would definitely check out that one. It's by Pip Williams. While I was reading that, I also was reading this one at the same time. This one is called Dark Angel. It's by Gillian Lee Gibson. Now, Gillian goes to my book club, and the first book club we had, she did a little bit of a talk about being an author, because she lives very locally to where I live, and she had some of her books there, so of course we all bought books from her. And this is her first kind of thriller one that she's written, and I am desperate for the second one to come out, because the ending, you want to know what's going to happen next. I think you can buy them on Amazon, but I don't think she does Kindle yet. She is working on it, but I think it's maybe the first self-published book I've ever read, and I don't think Gillian would be upset if I said there's a few sort of wee typos and things, which initially I was like, that was kind of throwing me off a wee bit, but the story's great. It's about a murder, and the detective and the murdered person have got something in common from their childhood, and yeah, you want to find out more, let me tell you. So I really enjoyed that one. Then I read my book club book for April, I think, yeah, which was this, Waiting for Sunrise by William Boyd. I thought it was my first William Boyd book, but actually, when I look at the back, this Restless, there's a little picture of Restless. I think maybe I've read Restless as well. This was not very popular at our book club. It's a sort of spy story, but like the first third of the book, there's nothing about spying in it. It's about a man who is in Vienna at the start of the book. He's taking a break from his relationship. Maybe they're engaged. I think they're engaged. He goes off to Vienna. He's getting some talking therapy, which I think is maybe quite a new thing. He bumps into Sigmund Freud, which apparently is a William Boyd thing, that characters quite often bump into famous people in his books. He has a bit of a scandal in Vienna, and eventually, I'm not kidding you not, about a third, if not more, into the book, he gets recruited as a spy in the First World War, and that is quite an interesting story. But yeah, none of us really enjoyed it. So yeah, I don't know that I'll read any more William Boyd. It struck me just as being not for me. Then I read The Rearranged Life of Una Lockhart. Now, this one is for an online book group I read it, which is on Facebook, through the lovely Marcy, a Cranky Crafter, invited me to join, and it's called something else in America. I can't remember, something like Una Out of Order or something. I think I know why they changed it, because out of order is like if the toilet's not working, it'll have an out of order sign on it. Is that? I don't know if that's a very British thing rather than an American thing. But anyway, was this is a time travel story. Poor Una, I think it's her 18th birthday at midnight. Her birthday is on Hogmanay or New Year's Eve, and at midnight she leaps into another year of her life. So she lives from the age of 18. She lives the years all out of order. So it's about how she kind of copes with it, and she's very lucky she has people in her life that try and keep her safe and try and let her know enough of what's happening. But it's quite a small book. I've read other books. I think I maybe mentioned previously, it's up the stairs, Life After Life. I loved Life After Life. I didn't love this, but I did enjoy it. Then I got a Kindle. So I have an old Kindle. It's very old. I think it's at least 15 years old, and it's dead. I think it's partly dead because Amazon don't want you to keep old Kindles, but maybe that's a conspiracy. I think I'm right. I don't think I'm being a conspiracy theorist. Anyway, at Christmas time, my husband got a couple of Amazon vouchers from clients, and then we needed to take out a policy because the car died in the driveway and we didn't have a home cover for our car. Breakdown cover. And that came with a Amazon voucher if you kept it for like 5 months or something, which we did. So my husband said, we don't really do Amazon. We don't approve of Amazon, but I did have a whole load of books, and so I got a wee Kindle, and I have to say I do love it. And with it, because it was a new Kindle, it came with 3 months Kindle Unlimited, which, again, I won't be paying for that. But so the next book I read was on my Kindle Unlimited because I thought, let's use that while I've got it. And it was Holy Island by L.J. Ross. I have seen these books around for a long time, and there's a big series of DCI Ryan, and it's set in the north of England, in Northumberland, and Holy Island is I've been to Holy Island as a child. It's like one of these islands that you can only get across to it. Well, sometimes you can drive across and then the tide comes in and you can't. You would have to get a boat. So anyway, I loved it. It's quite dark. It's there's been a murder, and it's is it a bit of a kind of ritualistic thing? I felt like the romance in it was a bit of an insta romance, which I'm not really a big fan of, and it seemed totally unnecessary. However, I enjoyed the story. Then I read another Kindle Unlimited book. I read The Broken Girls by Simone St. James. I have read a previous Simone St. James book, something like Sunset Motel or something like that, and I enjoyed that one. Sorry, have a wee drink. Oh, I hope I wasn't slurping there, sorry. So The Broken Girls is set in a sort of small town with a closed down boarding school, and it leaps between present day where this school the land has been bought and it's going to be refurbished, and back to the 50s, I think, where there's these 4 girls who have all been sent to this boarding school. It's kind of sort of troubled kids get sent there. I think all girls. And they keep seeing this spirit around the place. And then in the present day, there's a body found. So it's kind of a mystery about who the body is, what happened to this girl, and also the sort of spooky, haunted bit was just the right side of scary for me. Not too scary, because I'm a bit of a wuss, but I really enjoyed it. I liked being a little bit scared, and I thought the mystery was really interesting and had a bit more to it than just some how some mysteries are kind of murder mysteries are run. I thought it had a bit of I liked it. I really enjoyed it. Then I read my May physical in-person book club book, which was Instructions for a Heatwave by Maggie O'Farrell. And I read this. I read The Broken Girls and this one on my holiday in Morocco. And this was not my favourite Maggie O'Farrell, but I really enjoyed it. As often Maggie O'Farrell's books are, it's a sort of family drama. This is about an Irish immigrant couple who have 3 grown-up children, and it's set in the heatwave of 1976, which I was alive for, strictly speaking, but I was only a year old, so I don't remember it. And I don't think it was as bad in Scotland, although my mum does talk about it being very hot in 1976. But I think it was more of a drought in England. And one morning, the dad goes to get the paper and doesn't come back. So it's about the kind of complex relationships in this family, the mystery of where has the dad gone. This is an older couple and he's just disappeared. And the kind of secrets and cracks that have formed in this family. I really enjoyed it. I really liked the ending. I think I enjoyed it a bit more than most of the book group who had our discussion about it. Some people thought the ending was a bit rubbish. I really enjoyed the ending. And so that was good. So I read that one. Then I read again on my Kindle, let me see, it was called Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. And it's by Jessie Q. Sutanto, and I loved it. I read it really quickly. I think I started it our last day on holiday. We basically had the whole day to hang about till about 6 o'clock. We were getting picked up to go to the airport. So we had a bit of a wander, and then it was really hot for walking about. We just kind of came back, found a shady spot by the pool in the hotel, and sat and read our books, and it was really nice. And I read most of it then, and then I finished it, I think, when we got back. But yeah, Vera is such a lovable character. She runs this world famous tea shop that she really only has one customer into. And one morning she finds a body in her shop. She comes down and there's a dead man lying on the floor of her tea shop. And so she decides that she's going to find out. The police think it's an accidental death, and she's like, no, I know better. So she sets off to try and solve this mystery, and I loved it. I do enjoy a cosy mystery, but sometimes I think they're a wee bit unsatisfying. I found this one fabulous. I think it's a series, but the others are not on Kindle Unlimited. Isn't that the wee trick they pull? But I'm going to see if I can find it at the library. So I read that one. Then I read the second one in the DCI Ryan series on Kindle Unlimited, which was called Sycamore Gap, which obviously has become more famous recently because excuse me, a year or two ago somebody chopped down that tree in that gap, this ancient, so it's basically find a body hidden in the Hadrian's Wall. Is it a really old body or is it more recent? And it turns out it's like 20 years old or something. So again, a link to, is this a sort of a pagan-y, ritualistic-y kind of a death? Loved it, really enjoyed it. And then I read this one, which is just a teeny weeny one, Three Fires by Denise Mina. She is a Scottish author. Now, I have read a few of Denise Mina's books, but the reason I picked this one up is because of another little book she wrote, which was about an episode in Mary Queen of Scots' life, and I'm slightly obsessed with Mary Queen of Scots, and I loved it. It really, to me, it really breathed life, and when I found out how much of it was taken from actual historical records, I was like, loved it. So this is a retelling or a reimagining of the Bonfire of the Vanities, which I had heard as a thing. I think it's maybe another book, but I didn't really know what it was about. But it's really interesting. So it's about, what's he called? Savonarola, I think he's called. It's probably not how you pronounce it. Yes, Savonarola, who is a religious man in the 1400s in Italy, and he has quite traumatic experiences where he sees kind of civil wars in the city that he grew up in. He becomes a very powerful religious man and starts to kind of wield that power. In some ways, some things he said and did, you think, yeah, that's fair enough. You know, he was a kind of against the power of the rich, etc. But then he was kind of against gay people and against Jewish people, and yeah. So, but he was anti the Pope and anti-Vatican. Anyway, as you can imagine, he pissed off a lot of very, excuse my language, he annoyed a lot of very powerful people, and he met a sticky end. So it's quite graphic, some parts of it. There's a torture thing that I had never heard of before. I feel like I've gone to enough old Scottish castles and English castles where there's a torture chamber, but I've never heard of this thing anyway. Ugh. But yeah, and the end of it kind of tying it into I suppose Denise Mina's trying to say he was like the first populist politician and the dangers of that. Particularly when you see old Trumpy in America, and here people like Nigel Farage, who have been once again this week whipping up hatred towards communities where the people's skin colour is not the same as mine, but he's not a racist anyway. So yeah, I would recommend it if you like a bit of historical retellings, not fiction. So that is everything I read. So I think I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think I did 9 in the 2 months. I did have a week's holiday, so. And I have kind of followed up with my trying to read. I have 2 books on the go at the one time. So my current reads are Miranda Hart. I haven't been entirely honest with you. If you're British, you know Miranda. I love Miranda. So I'm just starting that one. And then I've also picked up my physical book club book, which is Peter May Runaway. I actually had this on my bookshelf. I think maybe my husband bought it for me. And because we know that buying books and reading them are 2 different hobbies, I have a lot more books than I have read. So, but this looks really good. And I started it in the bath last night, and I think I might get really hooked into this one. It's about 5 teenage friends who fled Glasgow in 1965 to go to London to pursue their dream of musical stardom. Before the year ends, 3 of the 5 boys returns, and they return to damage. Then cut forward to 2015, a brutal murder forces those 3 friends, now in their 60s, to journey back to London and finally confront the dark truth they have run from for 50 years. I love that kind of thing. Love it. So I will pass you back over to Craft Room Jenny, but thank you so much for visiting me in my little bookish corner. Okay, so hopefully you've just seen my little bookish update there. So in terms of my YouTube channel, I have continued to participate in some collaborations. I've done the Fancy Fold Card Challenge, the One Sketch Challenge, Deck the Year, and Tag Tuesdays. There's still other ones I'd like to participate in, but I do find I have less time for making videos now that my husband's here all the time, because I don't really like talking to myself in the camera. I feel a bit daft when there's somebody else in the house, which is a me thing, not a him thing, because he wouldn't raise an eyebrow, but I just feel awkward doing it. Anyway, but I have still been making videos. I think what I'm going to try and do is definitely have a video up on a Tuesday afternoon and a Thursday afternoon. And obviously the things like the Deck the Year and the Fancy Fold, they fall on month, a specific date, so those will slot in as well. And then I want to do a few more shorts because they're quite fun and you don't necessarily have to talk on them. And maybe do stuff that's a bit more creative for me rather than everything being a collaboration or a challenge. I've not really done very much that's more just because I fancy doing something, so I'm going to work on that as well. Is there anything else I need to say about the channel? I don't think so. I'd love to hear your feedback on what you like, what you don't like. Is there anything you would like to see more of? I'd started a while ago doing videos with projects using napkins, and then I've not done anything with that for a while. So yeah, let me know what you think. But also, I just wanted to mention some of the fun things I've done in this couple of months. We did have a lovely holiday to Agadir in Morocco, and I'll insert some photographs there to give you a wee sense. It was such a lovely place. People were so kind and friendly, and yeah, I loved it. I would totally recommend if you want a chill kind of beach holiday. And you could definitely do more activities than we did. You could go and do quad biking in the sand dunes and all sorts of stuff that we didn't do. We did like a guided tour around Agadir, and that was lovely. It took us up to the Casbah and we had a beautiful view, and all of a sudden I was holding a snake. I was like, I don't know why I'm holding this snake. And we went to the souk, the big indoor market, and we went to what's it called? Argan oil factory, and yeah, beautiful, really beautiful place. So I'll insert some clips from there if you're interested. And I also wanted to give a shout out for a Scottish place we went to. We went to Perth Museum. We did this in April. I don't know that I've mentioned it, but if anybody is close by and hasn't been, I would totally recommend it. It was such a lovely museum. It was free. At the time we went, because they had an exhibition, which is now finished, where they had the last letter of Mary Queen of Scots, and I am slightly obsessed with Mary Queen of Scots. So that was very lovely to see, and yeah, it was really well done. And they also have the Stone of Scone. So if you watched if you're Scottish, you probably know what the Stone of Scone is, but not everybody that watches my channel is. But if you watched the coronation of King Charles, then the Stone of Scone was taken from Scotland down to Westminster Abbey it sort of slots into that really old looking chair thing. And yeah, it's like every Scottish monarch for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years has been crowned sat on that stone. So yeah, it was lovely. We had a lovely day up there, and we also went to Kouros, which was beautiful on the way up. Went to the palace there, and I really loved it. It had a lot of beautiful embroidery, and I think it's a thing the National Trust does, where they have like a sort of embroidery group at a site where the people kind of recreate embroidery in the style of the period, or they also had old ones, but they had sort of more modern recreations, and it was beautiful to see. And it was just a lovely place. It's gorgeous. Couris is like a sort of preserved old little village, used in the filming of Outlander, as every little corner of Scotland seems to have been. So yeah, that was the other thing that we did. So I am going to insert a few pictures from Morocco and random things I did in the months of April and May. We also did a bit of walking. We started trying to have a morning walk. We've not got back into it since we came back our holidays because my husband had this lurgy and then he passed it on to me. And I don't have the breath in me to walk the length of myself. Never mind walk up to the top of the village and back down again. So that will come back. It'll come back. But yeah, if you want to see some more photographs and things, please keep watching. And as my final shot, if you've made it to the end, congratulations, well done. I hope you had a cup of tea or something to keep you going. But if you want to be in with a shot of winning my little secret giveaway, in the comments to this video, please use the words Morocco. Don't mention it's a secret giveaway, just slot it into your comments. Casual, dead casual. And I will pull a name from the people who did that and send a little something. I usually say only in the UK, but do you know what? Let's try it. I'm not sending a big package. It'll be an envelope with a few bits and bobs and a card. So let's see if I can get it to arrive safely somewhere else. I should have a bit more faith in the post, shouldn't I? So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Take care, everybody, and I'll be back very soon with a crafty video. Bye! This is a video, you know. Keep going. Keep the sound